Hello, I'm Rich and I'm the Director of Punch of Amateurs.
I'm Mike Lockhart, I'm Assistant Manager to Peter Barkley.
Yeah, and I'm Barks, former Charlwood manager.
We are sitting down today to watch Charlwood Uncovered, Season 2, Episode 14, They Are the Enemy, which is when Charlwood came up against TD Shipley, a team that you almost never beat, Bark.
Yeah, one of our kind of nemesis really, always a good strong setup, and one team we've never really, given a good account of ourselves. There's Murph's taking a dive, a good account of ourselves against, always given them an early start and always been a struggle. We're always well organised, aren't they, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with everything you just said. They're always that team that you think you're always in a chance of winning the game, but we never managed to actually beat them. So
No.
To get them down to our place, because we played twice I think at TD Shipley against them, to get them down at our place on the carpet was what we wanted.
And this was a bit of a sticking point, wasn't it? Because we had a bad day that day and I walked off and I think the players didn't stay for food after me. And rightly so, they were angry, they put food on. It wasn't my intention for everyone to storm off, but it was just a frustrating day. Lou had kind of started on me on the sideline and it was just a bad day all round, wasn't it? And I think that
Absolutely.
The players followed suit and left.
Yeah, I think like the guy here was saying to me and Rich, he sort of understood, he knows people get upset and stuff, but I think it did hurt them a little bit, and I think they rolled that over, didn't they, for when they came to our place, which
definitely
became apparent when the game started.
Yeah, they were hanging on to that, and I think, I never would have used that footage of him talking to us there, except because of their behaviour in this game, and I don't know if they...
I remember this, it was about 100 degrees and Mike's got about 20 layers on.
I've just come from fishing, right?
Fair play. We were at the stage here, weren't we, Mike? We were scraping around for vets players, and I think we called up Andrew Beattie and some of the lads that were in our vet side just to get a team out really today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was a case, wasn't it? We were dwindling with injuries from the start, and the further we got into this COVID Cup, the more people that couldn't play, and luckily, a good group of lads locally able to help us out. Some of the older guys.
Amazing lads, and I think that after COVID, they came back, they're playing hard pitches. It was almost like a mini pre-season, and we lost Herds, didn't we, up a beat in that game. So we were losing some of our real star players at this point. And
the squad was huge at the start, though, wasn't it? Remember being so excited because there were so many players, a lot of fit players and guys returning, and it was just such a strong
Talking
squad.
of guys returning, this is down to you, Fit. All the voice notes and the calls to the legend Lockie.
After the Copthorne game, when you just couldn't get the ball over the line, I started voice noting Lockie just to say if you'd played in that game, you'd have scored, you'd have been the hero, and he should come down on Saturday for the TD Shipley game because this is his chance to sort of step back and become the returning hero. So I feel responsible for him turning up here and.
Mate, he's such a good guy. I think still Merson's all-time scorer, comes in, sweeps the changing room, brings his ghetto blaster along, brings his boy along. No ego at all with him. Such a top bloke and a top player, and frustrated I think himself because he's got such high standards that he slowly couldn't keep it going, could he, Mike, to the level that he wanted? But he still, season before scored 20 plus goals. So
yeah, he was a fabulous just bloke to have.
Yeah,
about,
great bloke.
As were many of them, David Paney, what a lad, Josh,
And there's Jamie.
And here's Jamie for the return.
So I remember you were dreading Jamie's return, and I remember he came down before the game when we were setting up, and he said hello because he lives around the corner, and it's all very amicable, and we get on fine with Jamie. Everyone has done since he left the club, but I remember you were dreading it because you just knew he was going to score.
Yeah, look, I think Jamie's a great bloke, and he's scored goals for me and match-winning goals and cup final goals. He just became really difficult, to manage. I don't think his head was right, during the latter stage with us. But on this day, he was class. He carried himself with respect. I know he's going to score. You all know he's going to score, and it's whether he celebrates in your face or not as a previous manager. And I think he felt in a strange position. These are his mates. He was being, shouted at by the the opposition, his current managers in this game, and I think he probably felt more akin to us and our side, yet on the day he was battling against us. But yeah, no, he handled himself really well today, I thought.
And there's that changing room. We were saying earlier that there's almost every single person in that changing room. In fact, there's not even a qualification there. Every single person in that changing room you'd happily go for a beer with, or we've spoken to recently, or we have gone for a beer with, or whatever. Like, everyone in that room is a friend, really.
100%. And one thing I always said to the boys, when football's done, I want to be able to see you out and about, have a beer with you, have a laugh about what we went through. And the fact that these boys still call me today and we still communicate, someone like Lippet there who, he's got his name on his shirt because he gave us 500 quid to buy those kits because we didn't have a kit. Someone that was winding down his career, but just a top bloke. I think I'm saying there, you're going to score today. And then he hit one, didn't he, from about 30 yards in the game, and it nearly flew in. But I just had a feeling about him today because it was his last game. I think he was aware it was his last home game for us, or one of the last games. But yeah, top mate, guy you'd have a beer with, guy you'd have in a football team, guy you want to be around. Lippet, top bloke.
And there's Josh on the right, who now plays for Balcombe, and there's Tom, who now plays for Copthorne, who are managed by the two managers that are currently in this episode at TD Shipley, right?
Yeah, Tom's gone to Copthorne, where the TD managers have come along after starting with TD, but I think TD folded at the beginning of the year. But yeah, no, Tom's there now, and Josh, of course, we played against this year. Again, two cracking lads that would run through brick walls for you. Even if they were carrying knocks or whatever, they were all keen to play and give up anything for their mates. Top man.
Great changing room, isn't it? Looking at it now, it's just it's a huge, spacious changing room. The whiteboard's perfect. It brings back memories. You think about Charlwood nearly going under 4 years ago, having 3 players to being in the Sussex Div 2 and having all these lads and a new kit. A lot of memories in that change room, a lot of highs and some lows as well, but a lot of highs. Here is Zach, the big man. Someone that, had a few, choice words with, didn't we, me and him early doors when we brought him in, but sometimes you need that to go through that and have that bond, and someone that is a real leader and showed that throughout the season, and someone that you'd want at a club as well, Zach, somebody that actually has great qualities and shows that.
Yeah, and he's still there. I went and did some filming with Charlwood a couple of weeks ago before we recorded this, and Zach is one of 3 or 4, I think 3 players. So Painey, Zach and Jamie are still there.
State of that Barnet.
And Jamie's now the captain, but Zach, I think, dreads the cameras turning up because he's a good keeper, and all people ever notice is any mistakes that he's made, and he gets so much stick for it, but he takes it really well.
But you know what, not just his ability, Fip, that he's someone that would call, I'd speak to, he'd reflect, even if we blew up and had some choice words, he's someone that he's actually able to reflect, and we have those conversations, and definitely somebody you'd want in the changing room, you'd want on your side, Zach. He is a leader, and he does get the boys going.
He was, I think anyone that played in front of him as well, you had confidence in him that he was going to stop it. All right.
Yeah, you're about to see this goal in the first minute.
There are the odd times, but of course everything's magnified with the goalkeeper, isn't it? Everything that goes towards goalkeeper, it's all magnified on cameras. But
there's Tom being
he's
naughty.
The type of guy that you'd want in and around, and you'd trust him to come and do a job for you.
It's just such a bad start, just like the away fixture. Look, Mike. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm there behind the goal doing the GoPros, and as I understood it,
ducked it. His
Josh
arm was
thought
shoulder.
he got a call. He didn't. So Ben and Zach didn't see that coming, and then it was
just one of those when you're playing a better side, because they were a better side really on paper, and you give them a goal after a minute, everyone's kind of you got an uphill struggle anyway, and then to throw that in, it was difficult.
We'd had that game in midweek as well where we just couldn't score, so to go 1-0 down and think you'd have to score twice now to win, and we couldn't score once.
How did we not score against Copthorne that game? That was just mental.
So at this point you're not out of the tournament, but a win is pretty much essential. As it turned out, you didn't need to win to stay in, but realistically, you needed a win to stay in the tournament. And so, like you say, going to go down.
Yeah, it was a 4 group, wasn't it? 4 group, I think. Top 2 went through. I think, didn't TD go on and win it, or at least get to the final, maybe losing the final? They made it out of our group. We had quite a tough group on pack. We had TD, because it was done by locality, so we had TD, Copthorne, Jarvis Brook.
Upper Beeding.
I mean, Jarvis Brook we beat, who are currently top of the Sussex Div 2, so they've done quite well this season. But yeah, Upper Beeding.
Very young team, Jarvis Brook, weren't they? And it was that bobble that changed the game really.
The bobble of death.
Their heads dropped, didn't they?
I think that was one. Nice we had Ryan in that game, didn't we? Ryan, George, we have a lot missing here from where we started this COVID Cup.
Yeah, when we started, we were flying, weren't we? And just injuries and not being able to put together.
Didn't Ryan get injured that game, Mike?
Yeah.
We had that brilliant. He scored a hat trick in this, this competition, and then
He did really well, and we just never really sort of recovered from it, keeping players fit.
But that pitch wasn't helping anyone, and we were all quite surprised by it because it was always one of the best pitches in the league, and then we came back from lockdown or whatever, and
really bad.
Suddenly it was so dry and lumpy and just almost unplayable at times. You'll see, TD have a shot soon where the guy just swipes it, and you can't blame anyone for it going wrong because that's an unpredictable pitch.
Yeah, like that is so bobbly. You can see it. Well, here's Jamie running through. Oh no pen, no chance. Dive.
I think he got a leg touch there. I think
maybe an accidental clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, Barks.
So you can see we've got our cameras are in view a lot here because it was very bad planning on my part, and that was mostly because of these new dugouts that you got, these pop-up dugouts. I just didn't know how to film around the bloody things, and you kept zipping up the side. I was unzipping it so we could see you.
I think I was aware this game after the needle from last game, and knowing, I don't see eye to eye with these two fellas, that I wanted to hide away from it a little bit. And part of the dugouts I've always said, look there, I had Mike doing a lot of shouting and me kind of sitting down. He's talking about two teams on the pitch there, so he's already started to have a little bit of needle, and part of me wants to just get away from it sometimes, let Mike deal with it. Go on. Oh, yes, ref.
Yeah, as I said before, I think the worst thing about those two was that they do it when they're winning. They have a tendency to get a bit leery and funny and jokey when they're comfortably winning a game, and I just think that lacks a bit of class, and I think that's probably why in the narration I stuck it on them a little bit, perhaps more than I have done in any other episode, but they just really well. I think,
look, they've come to us. They were a better team than us in the league season. They're a better team than us here on paper. We're playing vets. We're struggling to get a team out. They've gone 1-0 up. They're creating chances, but then to start kind of mocking us, I think like they do here, and shouting boom when you're 40 years of age, because we're going a bit longer. I mean, I don't know. It was just uncalled for. I felt at that time.
Yeah, it was. You're short on players. You haven't really got much choice but to go a little bit longer. That was just the nature of it. I mean, you weren't known, Charlwood, neither of you ever promoted long ball football. It was never.
We were trying to play, but it was so you could see it bobbling around, and that's not a bad area to hit a channel ball like that from the right back at all.
And Zacco's kick there is a weapon as well to get you up the field quickly. He's got a hell of a kick.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a long throw. It's easy to say, oh, he's just going to Rory Delap it into the box, but it's a weapon to use.
We tried to vary it up, didn't we? That's that's an unnecessary one there from Dean, but they've just put one into someone's garden. So
I do miss that place. Like, I know it was that road being there was a nightmare and the houses and that, but it's just a nice part of the world, Charlwood. I just like being there.
Yeah, lovely. That's a great ball as well. Here, Lips. Oh, that's the one I dreamed of the day before.
Was Lippett playing up top that game?
I think he was. How desperate we were, yeah.
So Lippett's a former striker. You turned him into a left back.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was me, but apparently it was. Well done, Ben. Again, we put Ben on Jamie there just because Ben's fit and strong. Someone that could perhaps squash Jamie a little bit on that flank. We knew his threat over there.
And maybe that's why they started picking on Ben, because I think that's really the thing that got to me the most was what they were saying to and about Ben Davey, which didn't make any sense. A great little chance. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't necessary.
I think for me, you've come out of lockdown, you've come out of a really tough time, you're having a tournament, and yes, we all want to win, but to really attack somebody like that who's the loveliest guy you'll ever meet, Ben, and he knows he's not the best footballer in the world, and you're winning the game, and to start calling him a donkey every 2 seconds, I just think it's not on. I just think it's uncalled for. It's a personal attack. It's not about the team and trying to win the game and trying to get us off. It's about trying to get in Ben's head, and it did get in Ben's head. He's a nice guy. Ben was in tears after this game.
Yeah, he was.
Ben was in tears after this game.
He worked so hard.
But
it just didn't add up because there's nothing about him that makes me think, oh, that guy's a donkey. Like I just couldn't get why they were picking on him like that.
He's just a bit unorthodox on the ball, Ben. I think it's around here. To be fair, most of it's probably not shown, but to have someone like Ben emotional after a game, who's someone you'd want on your side and in your team and in your dressing room any day of the week, because they're calling him that.
I would sooner lose with Ben on my team than win with those two as the managers, that's for sure. But I'm not going to spend most of this commentary on those two. I've got to apologise for the dirt on the lens here. I've changed the system for processing the equipment, so I clean the lenses every week now.
They've just both worn grey tops, haven't they? Like, I thought it was our warm-up tops then. They've just both, Aidan and Jamie have just got grey tops on.
So I threw one of our mics down near them because I just had a feeling that it was going to be worth it.
I thought Mike was brilliant that first half. Mike Smith showed his quality again. Was it 1-0 at half time?
2-0.
2, yeah.
Oh, I missed the second one.
Yeah, they had.
I don't know what they're saying here, but it's probably not nice about us. 2-0 up.
No, they're talking. They want to annihilate you, I think, is probably the main point to take from that.
I think one of them's an ex-pro, isn't he? Quite nice seeing both team talks, kind of.
Yeah, it's the only time I've ever got to do it. There's a manager we think that might do it at Dorking when they come to Dorking. Maybe 2 managers I think would be interested in doing that. But otherwise, it's been hard to find someone that's
who agrees
to that understands
there.
what we do and will be willing to open up their team talks to us like that. Actually, funny enough. In the last Holland game, Kevin did wear a mic, so I haven't listened to it. I've got his team talk, but I didn't have any cameras in there. I think in hindsight, if I'd said to him, "Could we put a camera in there?" he probably would have said yes. So there are guys out there that will do that. It's a really nice way of doing it. I think having that balance and being a little bit more fair to the other team, giving them that platform.
Yeah, I mean, for some people, it's like the inner sanctum, isn't it? We've been obviously open access, so you're there to be shot at sometimes, aren't you, Mike? You know, it's there, warts and all, but I know some managers I've spoke to them about it and they said we wouldn't have the camera in there, but you know,
I hear there's some clubs that have red zones as well, Pip, and don't let you go in.
They're always round that, but
sign me up.
I think some clubs go to great extremes to get people in dressing rooms.
We'll cover that another day, I suspect.
So that's over there in the green top. That's A-Gate.
A-Gate, first manager I ever filmed.
Oh, really?
In the early 2000s.
And he was brutal with a line, and he doesn't mind upsetting people.
He does not mind at all. He's a very, very funny human being, and I wanted to use him in this at some. I filmed one of their Vets games.
Jamie's goal.
Line. He was so fucking funny that day.
Jamie's, I think, from remembering right, Jamie's goal was a trademark down the wing, cutting inside his defender, so the defender's either got to foul him or let him go, and he bends it into the far corner. I think.
Yeah.
So Kev came on at half time, did he?
I think he was still had a calf injury, didn't he, which kind of put him out for a bit.
Right. You didn't get a corner for that, did you?
Did you not give a corner for that?
No. That was poor.
I think I'm asking the keeper, did he touch it? And he said, yeah.
It's like Jack Nicholson running the line there for them.
Oh, he was a strange bloke, wasn't he? I asked him if he played, and he didn't answer me. And he said, if you carry on, I'm going to call the ref over. I said, I'm only asking what position you played. Do you remember him, Mike?
He didn't take a shining to you.
None of them do. Oh. Oh, no. I can't even see what happened there. See, now as a manager, you're going, Jesus, just look at bobbling all over the place, done well to finish it.
Yeah, he did.
Unlucky Zach.
Can't believe I didn't straighten that camera.
Heads are down now.
Tell viewers it was on a slope.
I can straighten it in post. That's why I'm.
When did
I was
Josh?
a bit lazy about
Did Josh get sent off in this game then?
No, he's just come back
Josh
from the ban, isn't he?
No.
He does get sent off.
He does get sent off.
Not in this one.
I think it is this one. In a minute, isn't it? Because we put him up top.
Does he get not necessarily?
No, I thought he got sent off early.
Copthorne. He got sent off against Copthorne, and his ban hasn't kicked in yet.
Oh, but he needs a fight in this game then. Something happens.
Yeah, he gets into a grapple with somebody shortly.
Yeah, he got sent off early doors, didn't he?
Yeah,
it was right at the beginning.
Oh yeah, that game we 0-0. Yeah, we had 10 then, didn't we, for that Copthorne game?
Still should have won it.
I think they're shouting at Jamie there, so you see him shaking his head.
Yeah, they're giving him a bit of stick.
Well done, ref. Well done, Gary.
Oh, it was one of them, wasn't it?
Oh no, has he played on? Oh my God, that's so frustrating.
Those guys didn't realise that Gary had played the ball live.
Gary didn't need to do that. And then we give a pen.
Yeah, but the offside comes in. This is when A-Gate puts his flag up.
Good lad, A-Gate. But it's those little errors, isn't it? We always say, Mike, one mistake leads to another.
Yeah.
Gary, there's no need to try and... Those free kicks where you try and boot it at someone is not retreating. 9 times out of 10, they don't come off now, do they? And the ref just plays on. That's a pen all day.
The managers were saying that the ball didn't travel forward, so he can't be offside. But that's a complete misunderstanding of the offside rules. The ball does not have to travel forwards for it to be offside.
Yeah, it's hard to get your head around that one, isn't it? It's a difficult rule to
picture it happening
when you're
it does
live.
happen.
This might be it here. Oh yeah, look. He was so angry.
He doesn't quite, does he? He nearly does. He's furious at this guy.
I think when you watch it back, the guy, you know, when you roll over and try and kick out a little bit, not excusing what Josh did in his reaction, but I think he
As a manager, that's got to be frustrating when you want to have the upper hand morally or scoreline wise. You don't want one of your players making it possible for the oppo manager to give you a...
It's like slow motion sometimes. You see it coming, Fip, and you're just there shouting. You can just see it going and you see everything. So that leg comes up a little bit and then... But yeah, Josh is obviously he's a tough geezer, isn't he, mate? He don't take no prisoners, and nearly spilt over then. It's his goal, isn't it? Don't we give it away? Yeah.
Ben gives it away.
That's why he's upset, Ben. Great finish. Great finish.
Jamie.
Yeah. But didn't really go overboard with celebration. Fair play to him.
Actually cut Ben's mistake from the replays. I didn't want him to look too bad,
Oh,
so I went straight into Jamie's shot there.
I think they were still giving it a 4-0 up, weren't they? Now
Yeah.
This is where it's a bit of lack of class.
I think that's the point when I turned to you and said, "Yeah, well, we control the edit." So that was Kev's one and only chance.
Oh, lucky!
If only. I'd have loved it if he scored.
It's nice seeing a bit of sunlight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Good save this, I think.
Oh yeah, well done. Little deflection off Dino there. Dino's someone who done really well for us, didn't he, Mike?
Yeah, I really like Dean at the back there.
Lovely bloke, committed.
Really nice guy, yeah.
Yeah, very committed. Very fit as well. He used to cycle to the games, didn't he?
Yeah.
Miles
Lippet
away.
makes me laugh. He hated TD. He always talked about how much he hated TD. And now the unravelling that rope, the packing away. Head up, Zacco, beat himself up.
Dragging the protector away from the
that blue.
Charlwood Village sign.
That bloody blue protector. So here he is, Ben. Bless him. I think I'm just telling him he's a good bloke. Class act. Keep your head up. Tough year for everyone with COVID, isn't it? Then you come out and you're getting abused. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's an emotional year this year.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. I remember sitting on the grass there immediately after the first lockdown and talking to Ben and Paney on camera. I don't think I ever used that anywhere, but we just had a chat about football and coming back and that, and you could tell how excited Ben was. Someone that is obsessed with fitness, to be locked up for that long would have been really tough.
Yeah. Mate, he's honestly the nicest bloke. He really is. Not very good with timekeeping, but he's a lovely bloke. Can't know what we're saying here, Mike. I'm just bouncing ideas off you, aren't I?
I think we're just talking about our squad, and you know, you can only do what you can do with the people you've got, and you know, realisation really that you can't go up and out of a league with an aging group of people and vets playing and stuff like that, and we just found our level against a better team, and it was a bit of a hold your hands up moment and say, look, we are where we are, and that's it.
Which is strange, because in that COVID Cup, yeah, we beat Jarvis Brook, we drew with Cotform with 10 men, you win those 2 games. You know, we didn't give a bad account of ourselves in this. I don't think we finished, I think we're about mid-table in it, weren't we, or something like that. But
yeah, I think we finished about the same as we'd started the season, didn't we? We'd sort of gone into this new league, and we were just never really as strong as we were in the season before, where we sort of romped the Mid-Sussex Prem. We just never really seemed to be able to get the continuity of the same players out. and the same quality of player out as well.
It's a
Although
strange
they're all
moment.
fantastic lads.
We thought it was the last home game, didn't we? Because we were going to go away,
that's right,
to St Francis, but then we switched last minute. So, giving a speech here just to say last home
Are
game.
those the cans that you found lying around in the shed?
No comment.
The treasurer at Charlwood assures us that they were paid for.
I went out and bought them that very morning. How dare you, Fit?
What, that strangely eclectic collection of Bud Lights and ciders? Yeah.
This is the kind of, we're thinking it's our last season, weren't they? But we didn't tell them because we had one game left.
Yeah.
Then the next game was back at home. We flipped it around and it was our last game.
Yeah, and I remember I texted a few players to say you should definitely try and come to the last game.
Hint, hint, yeah.
And they sort of read between the lines. I think I'd said it was my last game filming, and they were like, well, if you're going, then clearly Barks is going. I was like, oh, hold on a minute. So there you go. That wraps up.
This is where, does Zach come a rugby tackle in here?
Oh, yeah.
I said, don't do it, Zach.
Oh, God, I felt so bad because I could see, you can hear me stumbling. Cause
I was like,
don't know
Zach, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Oh.
Zach had given it the whisper sign, so I didn't know.
Yeah, then it's almost like you're in on it, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're
and I
almost,
was
you're
like,
part.
oh, man.
Oh,
To
mate.
be fair, it's the closest one of our players got to him all afternoon. So.
Yeah.
And on that
Good old
bombshell.
Jamie.
So yeah, thank you for listening so much. Thank you for listening to us ramble on about this episode. We'll be back with another one very soon.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for watching Bunch of Amateurs. This is a director's commentary, and we're going to do a lot more of these with Mark and with Barks and with Mike and maybe with some players. So make sure you subscribe to Patreon to get them all.